So we're doing all these plant videos about Chinese and Western herbs and relations, but I just thought it would be interesting to show you an overall view of one part of the garden and just tick off all the different herbs that are growing in one area, just to give you an idea of how the context of all these herbs. So these are some beds that are right in front of my house. There's my house. These beds are, well, we've been working on this for a while. Probably this bed is about 6 years old. Farther up it's newer, 4 or 5 years old. What happens is we make a new bed and we plant it up very nicely, and then it kind of starts to go wild. And things self-sow, weeds come in. We try and keep out the bad weeds and let the good stuff self-sow. And it gradually gets more and more jungly. So this is starting to get pretty jungly here. But I just wanted to give you an idea of how much material is growing here. So we have quite a lot of Codonopsis, poor man's ginseng it's sometimes called. Dangshen, this is used as a substitute for ginseng because it's cheaper and easier to grow, and it's a good wild edible also. You can see it's all along here, down here. In fact, there are probably 1,000 of these here. They're self-sown. They're coming up just like grass in here. Way more than I can possibly accommodate. So this plant is very happy here. We've got a number of different cultivars of Solomon seal that we're growing. This one I'm calling big leaf Solomon seal. It's got much larger leaves. This is one of the Chinese species. Probably would be yuzu as a Chinese herb. We also have growing right along the path here. This is the path up to my house. So we've got vines, grapevine going up here. Right down here I could point out English pennyroyal. We have little patches of this in all different parts of the garden because it's the best thing for mosquitoes, no-see-ums, etc. in the evening. Just grab a little bit of it and kind of rub it on. Extremely effective. It's difficult to buy essential oil of pennyroyal anymore because it's been used with very tragic results by people to try and cause an abortion, but as an insect repellent, no problems. Well, actually, I don't know. Maybe you should avoid it when you're pregnant. Even the aroma might be not so good. What else are we looking at here? We've got a whole lot of Sigasbeckia, another Chinese herb coming in here. We've got the Cherokee Indian favorite spring greens, Shochen, Rudbeckia laciniata. And we've got the tall bellflower, beautiful wildflower, and a favorite spring greens of Cherokee Indians growing along here. Then we can glance over in this direction. We've got the Chinese lily, Bai He, medicinal for moistening the lungs, also edible roots. There's some astragalus in here, Huang Chi, that probably sowed itself. We had a bigger planting further over. I'm seeing some wild lettuce, a mild sedative. They used to make something called lettuce opium from it. This is the Chinese motherwort, Imutsa, benefit the mother herb. Here is blue vervain, Verbena hastata, important native medicinal herb. The little magenta lamb's quarters sows itself all around, kind of a weed. Nice edible, like a perennial spinach, Chenopodium giganteum. It's the magenta one. It's pretty much the same as Chenopodium album, except for this nice coloring on it. So in the spring you can eat the whole thing. At this time of year, just the tips. This will get big, 6 or 7 feet tall. This little silene is a perennial vegetable, known as sculpit, eaten in different parts of Europe. We have a lot of Huangqin, the Chinese skullcap, I call skullcap. There are quite a few of those mingled in here. And then another little weedy thing is the perilla. The leaves and the seeds are both used in Chinese medicine, and the stalk. Leaves for colds, seeds for coughs. It's also used as a food coloring. Very good for seafood poisoning. So the pink ginger that you get with sushi is actually colored pink with this herb here. Japanese also dip these leaves in batter and fry them as tempura. We like to just use the young leaves in salads. It's got a nice spicy, warm kind of flavor. Here's a little weed that's pretty. Day flower, Camelina celestis. Beautiful blue flowers. This is in Bensky's book. It's a clear heat herb. I can't right this minute remember the Chinese name for it. We might do a separate video on this presently. Some kind of little milkweeds popped in. We've got different monardas in here. This is weld, an old-timey dye plant. Reseda luteola. We talked about the shu duan, the Chinese teasel. This one has gotten rather weedy. Elsholtzia shangru, used for summer heat conditions. Vietnamese balm, that'll be in bloom. After a while, we'll do a separate video on that. I'm very fond of this Salvia azurea. I don't know if it has any medicinal use or not, this particular salvia. It's just gorgeous. I have a weakness for true blue flowers, as opposed to purpley blue flowers or violet flowers, of which there is an abundance. There are really relatively few flowers that are a nice clear blue like that, or like the day flower. Genuinely blue. This is easily grown from seed. It's just a nice little ornamental in here. And we've got a nice planting of chai hu, buplorum, a very important Chinese herb with multitude of uses for colds and flus, but also for emotional disturbances, PMS, drug withdrawal, all sorts of things like that. Yellow flowered umbellifer. This is Angelica acuta loba. This is what the Japanese use for dongui. Different species of Angelica. The Chinese use Angelica sinensis. Japanese favor this one. Seems fairly easy to grow. Then climbing up the this little trellis here, we've got passion flowers. No flowers on here at the moment, unfortunately. And this one is a rare endangered groundnut called Apios priciana. So we'll be doing videos on both of these. Almost everything I've mentioned here, we're doing a separate video. I just want to show you, the effect en masse. These sort of powdery green plant right back here. Is the true French sorrel, Rumex guttatus. Pretty rarely seen herb. Seems to be doing all right in that spot. That yellowish plant that's dying off back there is the Chinese pokeweed, shanglu. This is huoxiang, an excellent plant for stimulating the appetite. Very similar to the plant called anise hyssop, Agastache funiculum. This is Agastache rugosa, also known as Korean giant mint, but has that similar anise type flavor. This is the northern huoxiang. The southern huoxiang is patchouli, so this has the same action. Particularly good for aiding the digestion, food stagnation kinds of issues. There were quite a lot of Papaver somniferum in here. They've gone past now. I see the goldfinches or wild canaries have been in here. They perch and eat the seeds and also distribute quite a lot of the seeds at the same time. Yep, they're mostly gone out of here. More lilies back here. This is probably the native Solomon seal. We've got one of the chrysanthemums, Juhua. We've got a peony, Bai Shao. Here's a nice rhubarb. I'm not sure what species. It hasn't flowered yet. This is perhaps Rum officinalis. or maybe one of the others. There's about a half a dozen different species which are used for Da Huang, a big herb for constipation, among other things. And this is a monk's hood, which will bloom presently. Beautiful flower, very deadly poison. This is aconite, wolfbane, monk's hood. Futsa is the Chinese name. So it has to be poisonous enough that it was used on arrows. It was used to kill wolves. That's wolfbane. But the Chinese have figured out how to process it to make it usable as medicine, and we'll do a separate video on that one. This is Adenophora non-shashen, one of the Chinese tonic herbs. It's a Yin Tonic. And yeah, just coming into bloom. We'll be doing a video about that one as well. So that's just giving you an idea of the density of one bed in our garden.